You're good to go.
Okay, all right. So thanks everybody. I'm so glad you're here. What I had planned to do was let you guys just ask me questions, but I think what I'm going to do instead is walk you through what I think you might want to know about and spend about half the time doing that and then half the time on questions. There are a lot of people in this room who have a lot more experience than I do. And so please help each other in the comments. Like I have been doing this for a year, and it was funny. I was at Pavilion last week, and Matt, who runs the Pavilion fractional community, was like, somebody who's been doing fractional work for a year doesn't have anything to teach those of us who've been doing fractional for 5 years or 10 years, because like what's hard is keeping it going. And I was like, oh, hello, I'm hosting a meeting on how I've been doing it for 1 year. So I have like so much humility about what I know and what I don't know. I am going to hold on, bear with me. I have to actually up level my um, Zoom license to let everybody in. So just bear with me. Hopefully that will work. Sorry about this, guys. Um, so I have a lot of humility about what I know and don't know. What I'm going to show you is actually a ton of detail. I'm going to actually show you my pipeline. I'm going to show you my actual financials. I'm going to show you what I spend on everything. I do not sell to fractionals. This is not going to be a beautiful presentation. I spent not enough time making this because I'm pretty busy right now, which is awesome. So please, I mean, I'm in marketing. I'm embarrassed to show you something that is not like amazing, but just please have grace for me. Okay. So let me pull up my slides, and then the other thing is I'm going to tell you what I'm using and what I'm doing. This is not a sales presentation. There are a million ways to do this. I will answer any questions about any of it, but like take it all with a grain of salt. There's a million ways to do this. So this was my original like choose your own adventure topics that I think I'm planning to cover. So just like keep a note of what you are most interested in. And if I don't cover it to the depth that you want, come back and ask questions. And for those that are joining late, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. Leah is my right hand, my wing woman. She was my wing woman at Pavilion last week. She's my wing woman here. And she will like surface questions, but also answer each other's questions. If somebody has like, if you have an answer to somebody's questions, answer it. Like we're not here to gatekeep. Okay, so a little bit about me. Sarah Allen Short. I've been in marketing and sales for 25 years. I've been a VP of sales. I've been a VP of marketing. I've been a CMO. I have been fractional once before. I was fractional from 2013 to 2017. I loved it. I had so much freedom. I hated the admin. And then I got a job offer to work with Adam Grant, and I could not turn that down. And so I went back into the operator role until about a year ago. So although I've only been a fractional for a year this time, I have done it before successfully. I offer three major services now. And one of my takeaways for you guys is going to be that I am not making a full-time salary doing fractional work alone. It is too stressful for me to have two clients, that one of which could disappear, and like I also curse a lot. I'm just going to do that because it's my webinar. It's too stressful for me to have two clients and fuck my pipeline and like not be able to pay my mortgage. So I'm doing a few different kinds of things. I am not going to talk a lot about the leap and the journey unless you want me to. But what I will say at a high level is that about a year ago, I was working with a company that I loved. They were starting to do work I was less and less interested in. And I was working with my own executive coach, and it started to become clear to me that I was ready to take this leap again. I'm a single mom. I have a kid in college and another kid going to college. I pay for everything. I have no help with the payments. So the bar is high. I'm not married to someone who's making, $250,000 that I can just be like, oh, let me try this out. So the bar is high. I when I made the leap, I had one client that was going to sustain me at about $4,000 to $6,000 a month. And so I didn't start with zero, and I did kind of have some overlap between when I was working full time and when I went out. What I will say is where I am today, there's a lot of people out there who are fractional because they can't find a full-time job, and that what they really want is to find a full-time job. That is fine. Like, great. That's not me. For me, I don't ever want to go back to being full-time job unless Adam Grant or Brene Brown offers me a job, then I'll probably do it again. But I'm really happy here. And then, of course, all the caveats that I've been doing this way for a year. I've done very, very well. I'll show you all my money. Um, who knows where I'll be in a year or two from now. So, if you want to ask more about that, you can. There are people in the room, I know from notes I've gotten, there are people in the room who are not fractional yet. There are people who've been fractional for 10 years. There are people who have been fractional for 3 months. There's like the whole range. So I don't really know how to tailor this. Okay. So I think there's basically 3 ways to build a fractional brand, and I have fractional business, and I think you can do any of them, and I have done all of them. One is just like your own hustle. You're doing lots of cold emails, you're doing lots of LinkedIn, you're doing lots of sales pitchel, you're just like hustle, hustle, hustle. If you have your own brand, which I did to some extent, I've been in sales and marketing in B2B startup technology for 25 years. I have a pretty good network, I have a pretty good personal brand. I think that you need 10 years of your own work. I think you need your own frameworks, which I had to some degree. I have my own way of doing a messaging house and a brand that I um borrowed from Firebrick and like made my own, right? I over the years, I mean, I have lots of ways that I do things. So you need to have your own frameworks, your own delivery, and you need to have a network of connections. Or you can build it on someone else's brand. You can sign up to be a certified partner of one of these groups. I investigated CMOX and GTM Partners. I am a GTM Partner certified. You're going to hear a lot about how I use that. Again, this is not a sales pitch for that. But that's just how I've done it, because for me, I really wanted to like buy that sort of business in a box that gave me some things to do pipeline with, some things to do delivery with. So what I actually did is part of the go-to-market operating system is this like 8-pillar system with these questions. And this is what I do with clients. And what I did was this is not the operating system. This is like my jerry-rigged operating system for fractionals. Pillar 1, total relevant market. Who am I targeting? Market investment map. What am I selling them? Through the third pillar is brand and demand. What's my brand? How do I create demand? I'll give you a blank one, but I wanted to show you my own journey of how I answer these questions. Again, if I prepared for this, this would be like beautiful and it would be a build and it would be so easy to read. It is none of those things. So let's just talk about like when I started, which was about 10 months ago, 12 months ago, and where I am now. So who am I targeting? At the beginning, I was like, I'm targeting B2B SaaS, period. That's too broad. It's too broad. I'm going to encourage you all to like really niche down. Who I'm targeting now, I'm targeting founder-led Series A to C B2B tech that is led by an IP or visionary. It's not just a technical product. It's led by a founder who has a vision, who wants to have content strategy be a major part of their strategy. That's who I work with best. What am I selling them? For the first 3 months I was doing this, I said I was selling them, I was a fractional marketer. Guess how many fractional marketers there are on LinkedIn? Like a billion. And so I started to, and that gets into the brand part a little bit too. But what I do now is I actually have a whole suite of things that I sell. I do sell fractional work. I'm an advisor. I'm a coach. I also sell these specific projects. Like all of these 8 things have projects in them that I sell. I can sell each of these pillars for $25,000. I can sell, let's find out your total relevant market for $25,000. I can sell, let's build your investment map for $25,000. And then I sell workshops and all these other things. So my brand before was I'm a fractional CMO. And then just like my demand was waiting for inbound, fingers crossed. What I do now is I was an actual birth doula for 5 years while I was a VP of marketing. For those of you who don't know what a doula is, it's like a support for people, the birthing person and their partner, just to help them have a healthy, safe experience. And what a birth doula does is basically provide options and choices and support the person in making their own decisions. And for a long time, I've thought that's really what I do in go to market. And like every single person I talked to was like, that is a terrible brand. No one knows what it is. Everyone's going to think that you're going to wear Birkenstocks and patchouli to your board meeting. And I didn't do it. And then This year, I was like, you know what? There's a million fractional people out there. I don't need a million clients. I need 10 clients. And I'm going to let the people find me that are drawn to my brand because of what I'm using. And so I now call myself a work doula. That's on the brand side. On the demand side, I'm going to actually walk you through my funnel in a minute of how I do my funnel. Um, for pipeline velocity, before, again, my pipeline strategy was hope and referrals. Now I have a pretty specialized funnel. I'm really hustling. I have a process that I use, which I'll show you today. For customer time to value right here, before my strategy was do a good job and cross your fingers. And now I deliver these specific products. These 8 pillars all have specific products in them. And because I chose to sort of buy a methodology, I have the research that I use, this operating system, these projects are backed by hundreds of companies that have done these. And so I can go out and I can say, I'm Sarah, I've been a fractional CMO for a year and I've delivered these outcomes. Or I can go out and I can say, I'm Sarah, I'm using a methodology that's been used with hundreds of companies that have seen these outcomes. It's just sort of like instant credibility. Um, Account expansion and referrals. Before, I wasn't even thinking about it. Now I have a systematic way of, if somebody, first of all, I can upsell people using this system, upsell other projects. And then I have a more systematic approach for referrals. For revenue operations before, so the question is, what metrics will I use to assess my business health? Before, it was being able to pay my mortgage. Like, honestly, I had no metrics. Um, you guys will laugh when I show you how I track my business because it is still not elite. In fact, I call it here my janky spreadsheet. Um, and then on the leadership and management, how will I maintain focus, discipline, boundaries, accountability, and alignment? Before, like, I wasn't. Now I'm part of this mastermind with GTM Partners. I so I'm in a bunch of communities. I'm in Go-to-Market Partners community. I'm in Pavilion, Women in Revenue, Old Girls Club, Wednesday Women, Ladies Who Logistics. I'm in a bunch of communities. So these things all help. So that took longer than I thought. Okay, we're getting to nuts and
Sarah, before
yes.
you jump over,
Yeah.
did you use any tools to determine your ICP, or did you craft this yourself based on experience, instinct, etc.? Mark asked that, and I thought it was a good question.
It is a great question. The second thing, my experience with startups is that if you have existing business, you can craft an ICP based on data and who's worked best and what's worked best. If you don't, you have to just kind of say, like, what do you think is going to want what you do? And so I crafted my ICP in Sangram. Those of you guys who know Go-to-Market Partners, Sangram and Brian have really helped me. I actually worked with them for 2 years. They want me to niche down even more. They want me to niche down to logistics only, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. But they have seen, the experience that they've seen is the people that have like a really deep vertical do the best. Um, and I am counting on the fact that between my pretty specific target market and my branding, that is going to be, that those are going to work together to deliver the people that are for me. And that's working so far. But yeah, it's totally just made up. And I have exercises, or I mean, honestly, I'm afraid to offer to share too much after this because I think everybody's going to ask for it, but maybe I'll try to send some stuff in an email. But I have a ICP exercise I do with clients that I could share with you guys that might just help you think through how you do your own ICP. So I'll do that. Anything else, Leah?
Just some questions around like how much time you spend on business development, lead gen per week.
Okay, I'll show you that. I'm going to show you my
And I know
schedule.
you're about to jump into pricing and packaging, which
Yeah,
is like the next question. So
yeah, yep. So I actually panicked last night. I've been super lucky and I just signed another big client this week and then panicked that I couldn't do it. And so I spent like 2 hours with ChatGPT building a schedule, which I'll show you if I have time. I would say when my pipeline is not full, I spend about 5 hours a week prospecting. And when my pipeline is full, this is like, it's tough because I'm trying to allow for 30 minutes a day to still do that. And I already can tell you right now, it's going to be the first thing that goes. And one of the hardest things about this journey for me has been that it is total feast or famine. You'll see that in my revenue. And when I'm busy, I'm not prospecting. And then one of my clients disappears and then I don't have enough and I have no pipeline. And like that's been really hard for me to manage. Um, so just truth there. Okay. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. So I, as a CMO, I charge $250 an hour. Those of you who are in revenue can get a lot more than that. I have friends who are fractional CROs who are charging up to like 400, 450 an hour or more. I think so this is just for marketing. All different disciplines have different kind of going rates. So what that means is I basically charge for fractional work. If I'm going to do 10 hours a week, I do 10K a month. If I'm going to do 15 hours a week, I do 15K a month. 20 hours a week is 20K a month. So that means if I were full billing fractional work, I'd be making $480,000 a year. But that would be billing 40 hours at work a week, which means probably working more like 50 because of all the other stuff that we have to do. For coaching and advisory, I charge $2,500 a month and they get an hour a week and like availability to text me, Slack me, whatever. Um, what has ended up happening is that when a company is paying for someone to get advisory or coaching, they're very willing to pay 2,500. And then what happens is, which, works out to be whatever 2,500 divided by 4 is, a lot of money per hour. What happens is an individual will come to me and be like, my company won't pay for it. Can I just hire you? And then I end up just saying, yeah, I'll just do it for you. We'll do it for $250 an hour. So generally, like for people that are paying for it themselves, I'll do 2 hours a month for $500 a month or 4 hours a month for $1,000 a month. My income has ranged since I've started from 7,500 in 1 month to 42,000 in 1 month. That is like crazy making. For those of you who have experienced this, like, throw a heart up or something if you relate to this. It's absolutely insane. I think if I could wave a magic wand, my ideal mix would be 20 hours a week of fractional, 5 to 10 hours a week of admin, brand building, and networking, 5 hours a week of coaching clients, which works out to be less than a 50-hour week and an income of $400,000 a year. I'm on track to make 239 this year. For my first year. Actually, I think more than that because it is more than that because I just updated. I just sold another client. So, okay, I'm about to show you my money. This is crazy, y'all. Can't believe I'm showing you this. I'm showing you my money. Okay, so this is my pipeline. I have my clients blacked out. These are the months. Again, just open book, no gatekeeping. So my first month of billing. So what I did first was I went across and I said, here's this top line is my desired income. I wanted to make $8,000 last year in November, December, and then 9 in January, 10 in February, 11 in March, and like gradually increase so that by the end of this year, I was making $20,000 a month. That was my goal. So my goal was to make $174,000 this year in my first year of business. This is what I actually did. And you can see that most months I was in the green. Most months I did way more than what I thought I would, but there were a couple of months, including in August and September. So here's what happened. So these are my clients. These are my clients that are booked. And I show you, so the fractional, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fractionals I've worked with this year. The rest are just like various other projects. This fractional one's been fairly consistent through the year. This fractional one was one that I was super excited. They called in January, booked me for 5 hours a week in February. We're instantly like, we want you for 10 hours a week. And they were so toxic that I fired them in May. And I worked with one of them. I said I would like transition them into finding another person. It was really scary to do because as you can see, they were like in March, they were my biggest client and I fired them. So then what happened was another company came to me where is it? This one came to me. Like basically as soon as I fired the other one, this other company came to me and was like, we want you to be fractional for us. And I was like, great. They told me everything they needed. I said, you're going to need me 10 to 15 hours a week. They said, we can't afford that. I said, what can you afford? They said, we can afford $6,000 a month. So I said, okay, then you're going to get 6 hours a week. I knew better, y'all. I knew better. And they fired me after 3 months because they were like, you're not doing enough work. And I was working 6 hours a week. And I had this moment with myself where I was like, am I going to give them 10 to 15 hours a week to deliver on what they want and keep the $6,000? Or am I going to let them walk away? And I let them walk away. And I let them walk away. And then I did not have enough money in August and September, literally, to pay my mortgage after taxes. And then I started up this whole demand gen engine again. And then in October, I signed a fractional client that's going to pay me 15 grand for the rest of the per month for the rest of the year. And then starting in January, 20 grand a month. And then a client literally yesterday that wants to sign up for 20 grand a month. Now I am going to have to subcontract some of this work out. I literally can't do it all. This is my panic attack last night. Um, so yeah, so if this all happens, I mean, I'm going to be close to 300 my first year. Now I'll spend some of that. I want to show you also expenses. Whoops, that's not expenses, business expenses.
Hey, Sarah, do
Yes.
you feel like how do you deal with equity versus cash only? I thought that was a really good question.
It is a great question. I work in Series A to C startups. I do not do equity anymore. I've been burned too many times. I think it is a super legitimate thing to do. I'll never say never. The right company comes to me that I believe in, I might do it, but I I've been burned by so many startups that I bill up front the month before. So like the month for October, I'm sending you a bill October 1st and you have to pay me by October 15th for work I'm not even going to finish until the end of October. And that is just because I have been stiffed by startups before. I think if you were think there are circumstances that could change that, but I also, again, I'm in a position where I'm paying for college. I'm a single mom. I don't have another. I can't take that kind of risk. I think if you might have a different risk calculation. Um, so I was putting this together last night, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing to show because like I don't need to be spending all this stuff. This is just what's happened. But I also want you guys to know there's kind of no wrong or right way to do this. So I have my website, my ChatGPT business plan. Somehow, even though FreshBooks says it's like $30 a month, by the time I pay for everything, it ends up being like $1,000 a year. I do not recommend FreshBooks. I would recommend QuickBooks. All the accountants that I've tried to find are much more comfortable in QuickBooks. I chose FreshBooks because it was cheaper and it's not really cheaper. Um, LegalZoom, I am very lazy. And everybody was like, you can set up your own LLC and your own S Corp and your own this and that. I don't want to go deep into the difference between an LLC and an S Corp, but my accountant told me to do an S Corp because it helps with taxes. Um, so I know that I could do that myself, and I just was like, I would just rather pay somebody. So LegalZoom is not only the LLC setup, but it's also like they have a registered business address for me with a PO box, and they check all the state, they do all the state licenses and all that stuff. I have Google Suite for my domain and my email address. I pay for Grammarly, which I know I probably don't need with all the other tools. My GoDaddy domains for various website domains are about 300 a year. I pay for a Zoom plan, which I don't need because I could use Google, but I just like Zoom so much better. I'm used to using it. I spend 500-ish a year on Fiverr. Getting Fiverr it's like cheap Upwork. And I'll get someone like if there's something on my website I don't know how to do, or if I need to create a table I don't know how to create, I'll just hire somebody for a couple $100 to do it. My GTM partner subscription is $10,000. I'm not going to go into that a lot, but I'm happy to answer questions if you have it. But what I get for that is like the funnel, the delivery system, all free use of all the frameworks with white labeling, and a community of people with weekly masterminds on different topics. I pay my accountant about $2,000 a year to do taxes, quarterly taxes, and bookkeeping. Canva, business cards, Calendly. Again, I don't really need it, but I just haven't figured it out. Teleflora, I started this thing this year where I send all my clients flowers on their birthday and they freaking love it. And that's who I do that with. Um, I paid someone $2,000 to teach me how to use LinkedIn and then didn't follow any of their advice because it wasn't on brand for me. And the one thing they did for me, I'll show you, they helped me craft my headline but that is money I wish I had not spent. I think there are some really great LinkedIn coaches out there. And the one I had was good. It just wasn't on brand for me. And then travel, I only go to conferences that I can go to for free, but I still have to pay my flight and my hotels. For me, I am really good one-on-one. I am not good in a conference. I was every time I passed Leah in the pavilion lot, I was like, someone I know. And so I don't know that I'm going to keep spending a lot of money on conferences. I just feel like I'm not great at the like group networking. Um, so anyway, those are my expenses. Um, Let me go back to this. Should I check in, Leah?
Um, I would say the biggest question that everybody's kind of asking is like how much of your pipeline comes from go-to-market partners versus self-source?
Okay, so none. This is what you need to know about go-to-market partners. They are not giving you pipeline. They are giving you tools to create. I mean, okay, that's not true. Every once in a while, they'll throw a client your way, but that's not really what they're selling. What they're really selling is this funnel, white labeled funnel, which I'll show you, and the frameworks to use. Same with CMOX. I did a call with CMOX and I was like, okay, how many clients are you going to give me for your $11,000 in 6 months? And they were like, oh, we don't really do that. It's really, so none of them really do that. I haven't found one that really does that. Um, but they are enabling me to use what they do to build my own pipeline from my own network. So that's actually a good transition. Every single one of my clients has come from my network and referrals. If someone was considering fractional and did not have a great network, I would caution them. Um, I have been working for 25 years. I have had two exits where it's two successful exits where I was an operator. I've had three more successful exits where I was a consultant. Um, I have, a pretty good reputation. But what I also did was in the first 30 days, and I have here like a 30, 60, 90 that I did for myself. I'm jumping all over the place. In the first 30 days, I literally made a list. I went through my LinkedIn, I set aside like 5 hours, and I made a list of every single person on LinkedIn that would be happy to hear from me, that would smile if they saw a message come through from me, no matter what they were, no matter what their title was. And I did probably close to 100 coffees in the first, like virtual coffees in the first 90 days. It was like kind of exhausting. And what I would do in those coffees is let them talk about themselves for 20 minutes. And then they're always like, so what's up with you? And a mentor gave me this advice ages ago. She said, if you want money, ask for advice. And if you want advice, ask for money. And so I did not ask them to work for them. I did not ask them to give me money or to hire me. I just said, like, how would you think about the way I'm positioning myself? What do you think about this? What do you think about these services? Is this something you would buy? Do you know anybody who might be interested in this? And just sort of networked that way. Now, that was when I was on my own. So the way the go-to-market partners funnel works is I pulled up everything here. Let's see. So they give me a white labeled go-to-market maturity assessment that I can send to people. And the way that looks is when someone, so I can send this, again, this is relying on me having a contact with someone. Someone takes the assessment and I get an email from them that says a move maturity assessment has been completed. And the person who took the assessment gets this white labeled assessment with my logo on it that shows them what market, whether they're in problem market fit, product market fit, or platform market fit. It's also giving me a ton of information about their business, so I know exactly how to tailor my proposal. So then my next meeting with them is a meeting to talk about this. So then we book a meeting and I say, let's talk through this. Let me walk you through it. Let me walk you through what I see. Let me walk you through the, is the OS in here? Yeah, well, I mean, this is a different way to see the OS. Let me walk you through what projects I think might help you, right? So then what I do is I send them a copy of the Move book on Amazon. They give you, it's funny because Go-to-Market Partners gives you cheap Move books, but it's like not cheap enough to make it worth the hassle of sending it myself because again, I'm lazy. So I send them a book and I like send with a gift note that says like, check out pages 70 to 73. I got actually that from one of the go-to-market partners, certified partners is Shelly Ryan. And she had that idea to like send a note that says, I think this would be particularly interesting to you. So then I send that book. Then I put together an SOW. I thought I had that pulled up. Um, let's see.
It's next. It should be next to your Move Google link. I think you have it tabbed there as Bravely.
Yeah, I
Is that
do, but
it?
I wanted to
Okay.
show you. I wanted to show you actually. Thank you for noticing that. Um, I wanted to show you the deck that I sent. So yeah, I do an SOW. I do a deck. I use ChatGPT to help me do that. Read the meeting notes, and then they like ChatGPT does the first draft, and then I really customize it. Um, but what I do is so I do a proposal that has the current state, your advantages and constraints, your goals. I don't want to show too much of this, just for their privacy. And then I go through like, what am I going to do for you in each project? And, what am I going to charge? And so I have, in this case, they need all of them. And so, and then what am I going to charge and what's going to be included in the scope of work, what kind of timeline, all that kind of stuff, and then turn that into an SOW. Um, and then I close. And like generally I was funny. Sangram was kind of on me because I said something in our meeting. I was like, I had a 2-call close. And he was like, you didn't have a 2-call close. You had built that relationship for like 10 years and you had worked on understanding this methodology. And then like that all enabled you to have a 2-call close. So like it's a little misleading. But yeah, so that's how I use so the difference is that what I used to do was just send like a million emails and try to get emails, try to get meetings, coffee dates, and and then like try to be like, so do you know anyone? Do you have anything? And what I do now is I send them this assessment and I say, I'm doing this new thing. I'd love it if you would take this assessment and let me know what you think of it. And then if I feel like there's good opportunity, I will do a readout with them. And if I don't, I won't. Um, I want to show you so this is my 5-step funnel. See my note to myself? Show screenshots of what I did. So I just actually didn't get to that and just showed you what I did. Um, and then I wanted to show you 2 other things actually on my LinkedIn. I thought again, I pulled up my LinkedIn. So one thing is um, that this is like just super tactical. Um, I put in for my featured posts, like what I do with a description, and these I'll link. Um, my coach, what he really helped me with was that your title here is what's going to show up when you comment on things. And you want to make sure that your title, let me just see here. I'm going to find this post for you. So like you can see when I post, it says work doula for visionary GTM leaders. So like someone who's going to resonate with that, who's going to think that's cool, is going to see that when I comment on anyone else's post. And I get probably 5 to 10 inbound messages a week that are just like, hey, I like your title. What is a work doula? That looks cool. And what I do for them, my other funnel is that, so I just showed you the funnel for the go-to-market stuff. For the executive coaching stuff, I do these writing workshops called the Work Pause, and this is my other funnel, is that they're free workshops. I do them one a month. It's an hour where I basically coach people through like light work issues and you get to come for free. And then everybody who does that, I start to like they get a taste of my coaching and I get a taste of them. And I've signed up quite a few people that way. So that's my other funnel. So not everything I do is through go-to-market partners. I do have my own stuff. But the other thing I was going to show you is that so getting your title right, getting your about me right, because for like literally like 8 months, it said Sarah Allen Short Fractional CMO. And so great, that's what I was. But every time I was commenting on someone else's post or showing up on someone else's feed, it just said fractional CMO. So here's a super tactical thing I did. Um, I One of the things I wanted to do was expand my reach. I love doing the GTM work. I love coaching executives. What is like lighting me up and setting me on fire in a good way is coaching up and coming women leaders in their 30s and 40s. That is what I love. Companies don't pay for it. They don't pay to develop those people. And so I was like, I'm going to ask my network if they know anybody. And so I posted this post where I was basically like, do you know anybody like this? I want to coach people like this. And then I sent out probably 200 LinkedIn messages to people in my network. And I said, hey, this is really uncomfortable for me. I don't ask for help a lot, but I am trying to get this post to get exposure. It would mean a lot to me if you would like it or comment on it. Now, it worked for me because I think I've only done that one other time in my career. There are people that do that to me all the time, and I just ignore them. But I did this to people that were in my network, that were in my, like, that I either worked with before. I did this with people I haven't talked to in 10 years, but that worked with me, that I knew liked me. And you can see that I had 106 comments, 14 reposts, 5,400 impressions, and I booked 15 meetings off this post. 15 meetings from people that were like, well, I don't know anybody, but I need that. Or they tagged somebody in the comments or something like that. And so that's just a super tactical pipeline thing that doesn't have to do with, go-to-market partners pipeline that really worked for me. I will say overall, this is a good segue. I'm going on way too long. I have to give you guys time to ask questions. Overall, I, Sam Jacobs talks about give to get. Adam Grant talks about being a giver at work. I really think that a lot of my success in my network is that I do a lot of stuff just to give without worrying about, and I don't, I do a lot of free workshops. I try to like be a hype woman for other women on their posts and like their posts and comment on them. I try to make referrals and I kind of trust that it's all going to come back. And what I have noticed is that this is a little woo woo maybe, but when I'm in desperation mode, I am not closing as much business. And when I am in like calm, easy flow, it's like closing too much for me to even keep up with, which is a weird thing. I want to wrap this up. Okay, my lessons learned. New businesses in my network, not cold calling for me. Niche down as much as you can, whether that's the type of company, the industry, the type of product, whatever. Feast or famine is really normal. It's been really hard for me to balance pipeline and delivery. LinkedIn, I have hated LinkedIn for years and been kind of unwilling to participate. And I've really leaned into it just in the last 3 months or so. And what I notice is just that, like, if I just participate without a goal, I don't do a lot of salesy posts. I don't do posts where I'm like, here's this trend, and by the way, I can help you with it. I do very little of that. I am political on LinkedIn. I posted recently about like Black Lives Matter and LGBT issues, about like blaming people with autism. I am looking for my people to find me and to like my vibe, and then to see my description, and then to look at my website and to find me that way. And so far for me, that's working. I am not doing super salesy stuff on LinkedIn. The more I am active on LinkedIn, the more I have inbound coming my way. And then the gift to get thing. So I made this. If you want to take a screenshot, you can build your own. But I do want to stop sharing. I will send these slides. I want to let you guys ask questions. You can either raise your hand. I'm sorry I like raced through that. Um, I'm intimidated by how many of you there are. I so ask question if there's chat questions, Leah. I will show you anything. Um, Whatever. Go.
Yeah, I have a question. I am one of these people like you where LinkedIn, I find it pretty exhausting. So I don't know if you've ever used like a done for you service that could sound just like you, or something that would take that time and commitment off of your shoulders for pipeline.
I haven't, but I have clients that have. I think it works best if you have an established body of work that you can put into ChatGPT. I think if you don't have a point of view that exists in the world that people can, that you can tap into, and you're asking you know, a VA in the Philippines to like act as you on LinkedIn. I just don't think it's going to work. I think if you have a Substack, a blog, a bunch of presentations, a bunch of videos of you talking, upload that all up into ChatGPT, have them post as you and comment as you in your voice. Like, I think that can work. What I do is I come up with my own ideas. I have this like just a note on my app, social post ideas, and then I put I like voice note my idea and my thoughts into ChatGPT, and then I have it draft the first version of a post for me on that. But it's my idea and it's my thought. It's not, so I haven't done the thing where it's like pulling from my past thought leadership yet, but I could see myself getting there, but I haven't done that yet. But what
Okay,
I will
that's good
say
feedback.
is that as I've gotten more involved with certain communities in LinkedIn, and as my feed is more like people that are simpatico with me, and as I'm seeing less of the like, let me show you what my failed engagement taught me about B2B sales, like that stuff, I just hate all that shit. And as I'm seeing less of that and more of the authentic stuff, LinkedIn has been a little better for me. So,
Yeah, finding a tribe.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mary, you're on mute still, or I can't hear you. It doesn't look like you're on mute, but I can't hear you. Okay, I can't hear you. You work on that. I'm gonna let Neil go while you figure out your sound.
Hi, Sarah, from Neil from Ireland here. Look, really appreciate you taking us through all that. Just two quick questions. One, in relation to your forecast, your desired income, did you break it down by category? You know, I suppose that's sort of the business development piece I'm trying to get my head around. And then the second piece, the free workshops give and get. What's the format of that, just out of interest?
So I did not break it down by category. I think I probably will in my second year. In my first year, I literally, like, the message I want to give to you is if you need money, take what you can get. If you're in a position where you have a partner that is making enough money and you can like follow your bliss and only do the stuff you want, like do that. But if you need money, do what you can sell and make it work. When I signed that client that was only that wanted to pay me for 6 hours when they needed 15 hours, I kind of knew it wasn't going to work out forever, but I was like, I need the money and I'm going to do it for 3 months and then I'll figure it out. So I did not have it broken down. I think I probably will next year. In fact, I think I showed you that in an ideal world, I'd have like 20 hours of fractional and a certain amount of coaching. Um, my workshop is a it I've changed it up a little bit. It used to be 2 hours and it used to be more of a workshop. Now I call it the work pause. But we use writing prompts. I'm really trying to sell executive coaching with that, or show my strength in executive coaching with that, not so much the go-to-market stuff. So for that one, we do prompts on things like decision making, or and then they share their writing. A few of you guys have been in here, so if you want to chime in the comment, I see a few people that have taken the workshop. Chime in the comments, and any of you guys are welcome to sign up for it. It's free. It doesn't matter. And then people share, and I sort of coach them through that problem very lightly, very surface, quickly. And then people get a sense of my vibe. I use that. I subscribe everyone who takes my workshop to my Substack, which I try to do every week, and I don't do every week. That's another source for me. Not everyone should have a Substack, by the way. I'm a writer. I like writing. Does that answer your questions?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. And it's online, is it? The
Yeah, it's
workshop.
on
So
Zoom.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
Sign
does.
up
Thank
for
you.
it. Sign up for it and take it, and then you can see what it's like.
Yeah, will do. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right, Mary, do we have your sound? No, we don't. If you want to put your note in the chat, Leah can read it to me. Tim.
Hi, Sarah. Tim from Philly. Great presentation, by the way. I'm curious, have you found that being able to say tap into a network or bring resources to help execute the plans has made a difference? In other words, like you have access to writers, designers, developers who can actually then execute on what you're recommending. Does that help with generating new business, maintaining longevity with clients, or do you basically work with their own resources and you don't need those external sources?
I think that's a great question. So part of the advantage of being in the Go-to-Market Partners Network is that I'm not super strong in revenue, for example, RevOps. Like when I tell my clients I'm going to work with them on RevOps, it means make a list of KPIs. I'm not deep there. So I have a bunch of people in that network that I can partner with to do that sort of stuff. What I'm finding is that what I'm needing, so I have those strategic partners in the go-to-market partners network. This new client I just signed yesterday, I'm going to need executional tactical partners with. They want me, 20, 25 hours a week, and I just don't have it. And so I'm actually interviewing people in my network. So I'm a member of a few other communities where I think I can source more junior partners that want to make less money or that need to make less money. Although honestly, I talked to somebody today who was like, I'll charge you $50 an hour. And I was like, no, you will not. That is not enough money. Like, come on now. Like, you have 20 years of experience. You're going to charge me more than $50 an hour. So I'm also a terrible business person. So as you're listening to me, just be aware of that. But yeah, I think I had not planned to build any kind of network. I had planned to just do high level strategic work, do it all myself, make all the money. I don't want to run a team. I don't want to have $1 million business. I want to work 30 hours a week and make $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year. That's what I want. But it's kind of happening. And so I was talking to a few people today, and it's like, there's so many people out there that need this kind of work. And if I can throw them work, that's all appealing to me. So the short answer to your question is I haven't done that yet. I'm in the process of doing that. I have some designers I've worked with in the past, but I think what I really need is like tactical implementers that can like build a sales deck, execute a campaign. Like I don't want to be in HubSpot, like setting up an email. I don't want to be doing a LinkedIn update for the founder anymore. I don't want to be doing that. So, and in the size companies that I often work with, that should not be part of a fractional CMO's job at all, but it often is. So, hope that answers it. I would say if you guys want to throw in the comments, like if you have a specialty that you want to connect with other people, you want other people to know that you're great at making sales decks. Maybe there's someone on the call who needs someone who makes sales decks, etc. Or if you have a need, put it in there. Natalie.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for this great presentation and everything that you've shared. I have shared your experience. I'm a 15-year creative director, freelance, and all my business comes from either directly people that I've worked with or like 1 degree from them. I do find that sometimes people will ask me for a proposal and then I get ghosted. And I was just wondering if you've encountered the ghosting. And, of course, I'll follow up with a professional email and, I understand you may be busy, et cetera, but I always find it so strange that like we will have a conversation, I will send a proposal and then nothing ever. And of course, I know to understand that that might be a sign, but any tips on like getting a reply from people?
Yeah, I have 2 tips. One is if that's happening to you a lot, you're sending the proposal too soon.
Uh-huh.
And you're putting too much work into someone who's not interested enough to deserve your time and proposal. And 2 is that's where I find sending the move book and the assessment. The book, maybe more than the assessment. The book is like $12. And if it's somebody that is, I send the proposal. So I often send the book before the proposal, but some sort of little thing like that that says, based on our conversation, I think you should read page 60 to 70. It may not be the move book. It may be whatever book you use or think about when they get a little thing on their door, that's something that's intellectual property, that you're going to be using or that you refer to, that is what I find helps. But I think that actually happened to me for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I was pissed because I spent a lot of time on the proposal. And like, even though I use ChatGPT, I still spent a lot of time on it. And I was like, how dare you use my time and not even say no, thank you. Like, if you don't want to do
Right.
it, say no, thank you. But I do think in retrospect, I think I was a little thirsty. This was in my August, September downturn, and we basically had one good conversation. And I was like, I think I jumped the gun. I think I jumped the gun. So I think, which both means I might not have nailed their pain because I didn't understand it enough after one call. And it might also mean that they just were never as interested as I thought they were. So that's what I think.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sarah, I have I
can
have Mary's
stay-
question when
Okay,
you're
I'm
done.
just gonna say this. I can stay like maybe 10 minutes if anybody wants to, if there are more questions. But okay, Leah, hit it.
Okay, so Mary asks, about go-to-market partners for CMOX and other framework partners. What are the some of the reasons that you chose go-to-market partners versus other framework partners?
Okay. So this one is a really easy one for me. Go-to-market partners. So I worked there for 2 years, which is part of it, and I saw firsthand the rigor that they use to create these frameworks. This stuff that you guys see out there, if you see their 5 types of ROI and you're like, oh, 5 types of ROI, I was involved in making that. It was hell. It was like weeks and months of meetings and like testing in the marketplace and like arguing back and forth about this, that, or the other thing. So I know from the inside how rigorous their materials are. That's one thing. The second thing is the people that run it, Brian and Sangram, are just like solid dudes. They're good people. They are people that you would trust with like your kids or your bank account. Like they're just good people. Um, it doesn't feel corporate at all. It's not like CMOX. I did a call with them. I have another call with them too. It feels a little bit like a machine, like a franchise. I said to somebody the other day, it's sort of like a franchise, and they were like, I don't want a franchise. I want my own thing. Um, I would say what go-to-market partners is good at is first, so the delivery is just top tier. And it absolutely helps me close deals. When I get on a call with someone and I say, hi, I'm a CMO and I've had 4 successful exits and I've been doing this for 25 years, they go, great, great. And when I show them that framework, that operating system, and I say, these are the exact projects that we're going to walk you through. And here's how these projects are going to help me understand your individual pain. It like absolutely closes deals. My feeling is that what CEOs and founders want right now, they think they want AI at scale. What they need is people who have pattern recognition and frameworks that they can customize based on individual situations. Because no one has been a CMO in October of 2025. There's a few of us who have been a CMO for 2 days of October 2025. And so all the frameworks and all the history of what you did 20 years ago doesn't matter because it is so different now. The economy is different, the political environment is different, AI is different. And so when I can connect with people and say, I have this pattern recognition, I have this experience, I have these frameworks that have worked for hundreds of companies, but what I really have is the discernment to be able to make these work for you. So that's thing 2. So think like, okay, or maybe thing 3. Great frameworks, great people, helps me close deals. And the community, they have about 40 certified partners now, and they have 1 or 2 masterminds a week. And like people share everything. I've shared my proposals in there. I've given, I do back to, I think it was Neil asked about the workshops. I forgot to mention this. I do those work doula workshops, but I also have approached all the communities I'm in and have said, let me run a workshop on the 6 go-to-market motions. Let me run a workshop on building your ICP. I've done that for the Old Girls Club. I've done that for Ladies Who Logistic. I've done it for Pavilion. That's all ways that I am using go-to-market partners' intellectual property as my own with their full permission. And so I share all of those decks with the community because I believe a rising tide lifts all boats. And as long as you're not trying to give that presentation to Ladies Who Logistic, because that's my territory, stay away from Ladies Who Logistic. I don't care if you go give that same presentation to, Men Who Logistic or whatever. Like, so it's an incredibly generous community and mastermind of people who are working through, there's like an accountability group where people are doing this challenge where it's like, you have to leave 3 comments a day, send 3 DMs a day, send 3 emails a day, do 2 proposals a week. And it's just like an accountability group. So there's probably a million more reasons, but that's the reason is it has been super helpful. Of all the things I've spent money on, absolutely that is number 1.
Which community, obviously you talked about go-to-market partners, but which community has been a game changer for you out of all the ones that you talked about?
Okay. So Pavilion has been a game changer for me but partially because I've gotten in, I'm teaching some classes with them now. And, but even before that, you have to participate at a high level to get something out of it. You have to offer a ton of help before you can ask for anybody for anything. But they do have threads of like, People who are just like, I'm looking for this fractional person or I'm hiring this person, like all that stuff is there. But you really have to put time in to make it work for you. So Pavilion's been huge for me. There's a community called Old Girls Club, which for me, yeah, some of you guys are here from Old Girls Club, has been the most authentic one for me. So when I'm in Pavilion, I'm very like buttoned up. Look at me. I'm a professional. I have all the answers. I know everything. And in Old Girls Club, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a wreck. I don't know what's going on. Like, help me find an accountant. Help me figure this out. So and I've gotten like 2 or 3 coaching clients from Old Girls Club too. Um, Women in Revenue is awesome, but has been quieter for me lately. Um, what else? I would say Pavilion and Old Girls Club and Go to Market Partners. Well, and I've just become a founding member of Wednesday Women. And if you notice a theme here, my groups are heavily women focused. Not everyone in this group is a woman. So you might find groups that are focused in your industry or in some sort of um, niche that you're in. I think that would be helpful. The women's community, for those of you who aren't women, I'm sorry, because it's amazing and it's just very supportive. And I hope that you can find communities like that in your industry or in your specialty. I have I've been part of several fractional communities. There's like a Pavilion has a fractional community that's great, and the guy that runs that, Neil and Henning, are great. Just absolutely very knowledgeable with a ton more experience than I have. Um, but I would think about whether you're joining a community to do business development or to get support as a fractional. The go-to-market partners community is more like a mastermind for me. It's like, how am I going to approach this? I've learned so much about like half the stuff I taught you guys today is stuff I learned from them, how to be a fractional, but I'm not getting business there. I'm not getting referrals there. It's more like my support group. Whereas I'm going more to Pavilion to actually try to get business, although they have a support group too. So other questions?
That's pretty much it for everybody in the chat. The biggest question is, are you going to share this out more broadly?
I'm not, I'm going to share it with people who registered. I'm not going to share it
Okay.
more broadly because I showed you guys like my bank statements practically. So I'll share the recording and the slides. I mean, a lot of the stuff isn't in the slides. I'll share the recording with everybody who registered. The reason I did this is that I'm getting to the point where I'm getting like 5 or 6 people a week calling me and asking me to do this with them one-on-one. And so I thought I would just do it like everybody together. So maybe I'll do it once a quarter or whatever. I should probably figure out a way to sell you guys something because you're all here. So, um, I won't. I probably will subscribe you to my Substack, so you can unsubscribe. I won't have my feelings hurt if you unsubscribe to that. But yeah, so I probably will not share broadly, but I will share with all of you, and I will share with the people who registered but couldn't make it because it's Yom Kippur, and I'm a dumbass, and I scheduled this on a Jewish holiday, so I'll share it with everybody who couldn't be here either.
Is there anything we can do to support you or refer you business?
Oh, that's so
Since there's
nice.
so many people here that came to
That's
show
so
up.
right. I feel like so lucky that I'm really good right now. I still would love more executive coaching clients and advisory clients if you know that sort of like up and coming. Again, I'll take anybody. I work with CEOs and founders, but the like up and coming women leaders that are like the person at their company who know the most about everything, and they just really need somebody to help them. Better yet, if they have a company that will pay to help them, because then I can charge them more than if they're paying for it themselves. But yes, that and then I would also say that I thank you for asking, Leah. I think I'm good. I'm good on fractional work right now. I can't actually take any more, but would love for you guys to connect with each other and help each other too. So, and if anybody needs connections to any of the vendors or anything that I mentioned, I'm happy to make introductions. You can just message me on LinkedIn.
One more thing. Do you have any posts that you want us to amplify on LinkedIn?
You guys are the best. Oh my gosh. Um, wow. I was not prepared for that. I guess that one, oof, maybe I'll make one that I don't know. I don't know. I'm not prepared for that question. Maybe that one that I showed you guys where it's like me asking for clients. I mean, that's already been amplified a lot, but your networks could see it too. That would be great. I will, let me put the link in here for you. That's so nice. And I do think that, let me just get the link here. If you guys, it really does help for when you see other people, even other fractionals, there's the link to that post, that are posting stuff. Like, I really believe in karma, like support them. Even if you feel like they're competing with you, support them. And don't support them to say, oh, this is great, I do the same thing and I do it better, and here's a link to the way I do it. Not that you would do that, but like, just spread the love. Like, I believe that more and more companies are choosing fractional leaders. I think it's harder and harder to find full-time work. I think this is a model that's going to stick around. I think there's plenty of work for all of us, especially if you niche down. I believe in referrals. I have never lost business for being too nice about somebody else. So, yeah, support each other. And thank you guys for asking this. And come to my workshop. I would say the other thing is, if you ever wanted to post about my workshop, which I will also give you the link to, just because mostly I actually really love doing that. I'm gonna put the link in the chat here. I really love doing it, even when I don't get business from it. It's like the high point of my week. And so if you wanted to share on your own networks about my workshop or sign up for it, that would be great too. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let me know if you need if you have any other questions or want more info, let me know.
No, thanks, Sarah. That was great.
Thanks,
Have a good
everybody.
day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate Leah for helping me manage this giant
Of course.
group I wasn't expecting. Thanks, everybody. Leah, I think you have to end the meeting though, because you're the host now.
Okay, I'm gonna end it. Bye,
Thanks, everyone.
guys. Thanks, Sarah.